On this worksheet, we'll look at how we can manually group information in a pivot table. So you'll notice here that we have some information, employees, locations, and their sex, and we're asked to create a pivot table for the data showing the number of employees in each of the 6 states cross-tabulated by sex, and then group those into a western and an eastern region, and then add subtotals to the bottom, and finally add column bands to the table. So let's look at our data over here. If you click on it, you'll notice that I have a Design tab, but we don't have an Analyze tab, and as such, we know that this is actually just a data table, not a pivot table. To insert a pivot table, we can come here to Insert and Pivot Table. Now, the range looks like it's correctly selected, but let's go ahead and save this into our current worksheet, maybe over here or something. We'll say OK, and now we have our basics. Let's go ahead and add sex into the columns here and our location to the rows. And then we can choose either employee, location, or sex to pull down here into the values. It really doesn't matter which one because we'll just do a count on it. I'll just go ahead and pull down employee. Okay, I think we have the information in our pivot table. Now let's look at grouping. To group, essentially we just select the rows that we'd like to group. So in our western region will be Arizona. We hold the Control key down, California, and Washington, and then we right click and we simply say group. Those clustered those 3 together, and let's go ahead and name this, instead of group 1, let's call it Western Region. Hit enter. And then we can select the remaining states, right click and group, and put those into an Eastern region. To add subtotals at the bottom there, we'll want to come up here to the Design tab, and over under subtotals we have the option of either putting them at the bottom of the group or the top of the group. It asked us to put them at the bottom, so we'll do just that. Okay, and then it also asked us to add column bands to the table. So we'll just come here to banded columns, and we can make that look a little different or easier to follow the information in a column. Okay, let's go to the next tab. On this tab, we have some information, some dates, as well as cells there. Asks us to summarize the cells data by creating a pivot table with the date field in the row label and the cells filled in the value section, okay? And then group by month, and then format the sum of the cells to dollar amounts. So we'll click here. What do you notice? This is a pivot table because it has Analyze and Design there. We can actually just use this information in line. So summarize the cells data, date filled in the rows, and the cells filled over here. So it look like we're already there. But now we need to group the items by month. Let's come over here, right click, and we'll say group, and it looks like that's selected. If we wanted to, we could also group by year. Let's go ahead and do that rather than clustering everything in just months. We might do that if we're looking at cyclical data or something like that, but in this case, we'll just select the years option there and say OK, and now we have those looking pretty neat. Let's go ahead and right click and format our number here as currency as was requested. And then if we wanted to, of course, we could collapse these